In 2006, a documentary convinced millions of people that if they thought hard enough about a Lamborghini, it would eventually show up in their driveway. It didn't. Most of them gave up within a few weeks, decided it was all nonsense, and went back to their normal lives. But here's the part nobody tells you. The failure wasn't proof that the law of attraction is fake. It was proof that almost everyone was taught to practice it completely wrong. By the end of this video, you'll understand what's actually happening inside your brain when this concept works, why it fails for roughly 9 out of 10 people who try it, and the 4-step process that psychologists, not influencers, can actually explain. Stick around for step 4, because it's the one piece almost nobody talks about, and it's the one that makes everything else work. The law of attraction is usually summarized in one sentence, like attracts like. Think positive thoughts, and positive things happen to you. Think negative thoughts, and negative things follow. It sounds almost too simple, and that simplicity is exactly why it spreads so fast, and exactly why it gets dismissed so fast too. The version that went viral in the mid-2000s leaned heavily on the idea of the universe as a kind of cosmic vending machine. Picture what you want, feel good about it, and it materializes. No mention of effort, no mention of skill building, no mention of the fact that wanting something and being positioned to receive it are two completely different things. That's the version that collapsed under its own weight. People pictured houses they couldn't afford, relationships they hadn't done the inner work for, and bodies they weren't willing to train for. And when none of it appeared, they concluded the whole concept was a scam. But strip away the mysticism, and underneath it sits something psychology has studied for decades under different names: expectation, attention, identity, and behavior. Those 4 things, working together, really do shape the outcomes you experience. Not magically, mechanically. Your brain is bombarded with roughly 11 million pieces of sensory information every second. You consciously process a tiny fraction of that, somewhere around 40 to 50 pieces. Something has to decide what gets through and what gets filtered out, and that gatekeeper is a small bundle of neurons at the base of your brainstem called the reticular activating system. Here's why that matters. The reticular activating system doesn't filter information based on what's true or important in some objective sense. It filters based on what you've told it to prioritize: your goals, your fears, your repeated thoughts. This is the exact mechanism behind a phenomenon you've probably experienced without naming it. You buy a new car, and suddenly you see that same car everywhere. The number of that model on the road didn't change overnight. Your filter did. Now apply that to opportunity. Someone who constantly rehearses the thought, "Nothing good ever happens to me," trains their filter to notice the rejection emails, the bad traffic, the unanswered texts, and to scroll right past the open doors. Someone who consistently rehearses, "I'm someone who finds opportunities," trains the exact same filter to flag the job posting, the conversation, the chance encounter that the first person would have missed entirely. This connects to a second well-documented bias: confirmation bias. Our tendency to notice and remember information that confirms what we already believe, while unconsciously discounting what contradicts it. Combine a trained attention filter with a confirmation bias running in the background, and you get something that looks suspiciously like attracting things, except it isn't mystical at all. It's selective perception, repeated daily until it becomes your default operating system. There's a third layer, too: the self-fulfilling prophecy. Decades of psychological research show that our expectations don't just change what we notice, they change how we behave, often without our awareness. Expect to be rejected in a job interview, and your body language, tone, and energy shift in ways that make rejection more likely. Expect to be welcomed, and the opposite happens. You're not just attracting outcomes, you're subtly producing them. So no, thinking about a Lamborghini doesn't make one appear in your driveway, but a sustained mental pattern absolutely does change what you notice, what you attempt, and how you come across to other people. That's not woo. That's neuroscience with a softer name attached to it. If the mechanism is real, why does it fail for almost everyone who tries it? 3 reasons keep showing up. Reason 1. Vague wanting instead of specific identity. I want to be successful gives your reticular activating system nothing to filter for. Success at what? Compared to whom? Your brain can't build a search pattern around a feeling. It needs a target. Reason 2. Wanting from a place of lack. There's a difference between wanting something because you feel excited about it and wanting something because you feel like you're missing it. The second version keeps your nervous system anchored in scarcity, and scarcity has its own filter. One trained to notice everything you don't have yet. You end up reinforcing the absence instead of the arrival. Reason 3, and this is the big one. Zero action. The original viral version of this idea quietly implied that visualization alone was enough. It isn't, and it was never going to be. Expectation changes what you notice and how you behave, but it doesn't open doors by itself. Someone can visualize a fit, healthy body every night and never once walk into a gym, and they will not transform. The visualization was supposed to be the ignition, not the engine. This is where most people quit. They do the comfortable part, the thinking, the vision boards, the affirmations in the mirror, and skip the uncomfortable part, which is actually moving toward the thing while it still feels unfamiliar and slightly out of reach. Then they blame the concept instead of the execution. This is the part almost nobody breaks down clearly, so let's go through it properly. Step 1. Specificity. Replace vague desires with a defined target. Not "I want more money," but a number, a time frame, a reason. Not "I want a better relationship," but a description of what that relationship actually looks like day to day. Specificity gives your attention filter something concrete to search for. Step 2. Identity before outcome. This is the part most people skip entirely. Instead of asking "how do I get the result?" ask who is the kind of person who already has this result, and how do they think, act, and carry themselves. Then start rehearsing that identity now, before the evidence shows up. Someone who identifies as disciplined doesn't wait for a fit body to start acting disciplined. The discipline comes first, and the body follows. This single shift, identity before outcome, is the difference between people who quietly transform over a year and people who repeat the same affirmations for 5 years with nothing to show for it. Step 3. Emotional rehearsal, not just mental rehearsal. Your nervous system doesn't fully distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a remembered one. Both light up overlapping regions of the brain. So instead of just thinking about the goal, briefly feel what achieving it would feel like. The relief, the pride, the calm. This is what actually shifts your baseline state, which is what your behavior gets built on top of. Step 4, the one nobody talks about, aligned action under uncertainty. This is the step that separates people who get results from people who stay stuck in the visualization stage forever. It means taking the next available action toward the goal before you feel fully ready, before all the conditions look perfect, before the fear has gone away. Not a giant leap, just the next honest step. Send the application before you feel qualified enough. Have the conversation before you feel confident enough. Show up to the gym before you feel motivated enough. The feeling of readiness was never going to arrive first. It arrives after the action, not before it. Put those 4 together: specificity, identity, emotional rehearsal, aligned action, and you have something far more powerful than wishing. You have a closed loop. Your filter notices the opportunity. Your identity makes you the kind of person who takes it. Your nervous system is calibrated for the outcome instead of the lack, and your action turns the noticed opportunity into an actual result. You don't need an hour of ritual for this to work. 5 minutes, done consistently, outperforms an hour done once. Each morning, write one specific outcome you're working toward. Underneath it, write one sentence describing the identity of someone who already has it. Close your eyes for 60 seconds and let yourself feel, not just picture, what achieving it would feel like in your body. Then ask yourself a single question. What is one action available to me today that this version of me would take? Do that one thing before the day ends, even if it's small. True practice isn't about rituals or waiting for signs. It is about attention, identity, feeling, and daily action until they define you. The law of attraction is not cosmic magic, but a psychological reality. What you focus on shapes your perception. Your beliefs dictate your behavior, and your actions define your possibilities. It was never a substitute for work, but the catalyst that makes the right move obvious and transforms you into someone capable of taking it. If this shifts your perspective, you know your next step. If you want the next video the moment it drops, you know where the subscribe button is. This is the equation. Intentional awareness followed by daily action.